Yo, what the fuck is going on? It's your boy Randage, the Upstart Echelon, and today we're going to be doing a duel review I had using my most recent deck I've posted on my channel, Baaa Return. This duel in particular was the finals match of an Academy Red tournament. If you're unaware of what that is, basically it's a way for players to work their way up through like a league. And whenever you win a tournament through each tier of red, yellow, and blue, if you end up winning a blue tournament, then you can get an invite to GOAT Format Championship Worlds. I'll have links to the applicable discords in the description where you can find out all that kind of information, as well as just a really fun place to hang out. Your boy's always in there, he's always live. Alright, so getting into the duel, like I said, this was a finals match. Lucas ends up winning the rock, paper, scissors. He sets one and passes. Lucas is the kind of guy that would value breaker, so even if I had breaker here, I probably would not be going for that play, but we'll see what I get off my top deck. And then I just draw a tribe. So to me, the most obvious play is just go for Pot of Greed right off the bat. So draw into Skull Lair and Mirror Force. Those are pretty good cards to have, and I was fairly confident that Lucas was playing a Chaos Control deck with Metamorphosis in it, so Skull Lair I value a lot here. So I end up just setting Dokoichi first. This baits out Knock the best in my opinion. If he banishes it, I get 3 into my banish zone. And if it goes off, I have a 1400 beater next turn, assuming he doesn't kill it, and I get a draw off it as well. So on the end phase, he's going to use the Scapegoats, which means the meta play is coming out, so I had predicted what deck he was playing correctly. So he's going for the meta play right off the bat. The effect's obviously going to go off and he's going to pass turn. I draw into another merchant. I'm going to go for the tribe play though. Since he had no back row, I assume his hand is full of monsters. So I want to get as much pressure going as I can. And since I don't really care about throwing monsters into my grave, since I could banish them later, and I also have Skull Lair in my hand, so I'm going to go ahead and just use Tribe's Effect and get rid of both DD as well as a merchant, since I have another one in hand. I'm going to keep DD Warrior Lady as insurance though, just in case this backfires. But now I do have a dark and light set up in my grave, so he could be fearing the BLS. Sorry about that, my laptop is literally a piece of shit. It might freeze a few times during this. So he top decks the duo, which is very unfortunate because we have no good discard fodder really, to be honest with you. He hits a DD Warrior Lady, and I decide to throw my merchant away as well, because like I said, I value Skull Lair so much right now, and throwing away Mirror Force would be silly. Unfortunately, he has a Tsukiyomi, so Tribe's just going to go down here as well. And the reason I haven't been setting back row is because I fear his breaker. I value it way so much that I would be perfectly okay with just passing my back row in a situation like this rather than just having it get popped. Then we just draw another Dekoichi. I go ahead and set that, and then I'll set up insurance with the back row here. I held them as long as I could, but I felt like I had to play them here to protect Dekoichi because I'm not 100% certain I'll be drawing a monster next turn, and I need to be able to be generating some pressure here since I'm top decking. So it does turn out he had breaker the entire time, so I was correct in my assessment to avoid setting my back row prematurely. So on the summon of his breaker, on the trigger effective counter, I'm going to flip up Skolair. Now he still has priority to use the pop effective breaker, but now that Skolair is face up, I can chain Skolair's effect to banish and destroy a monster as he uses his effect. He goes ahead and chooses to use it on Skolair itself, and since he's popping Skolair, I can still chain Skolair's effect to his effect. So he goes ahead and pops Skolair, but chain link 2. Skolair still goes off first. I get 4 monsters in my banish zone. So he sets another. I flip up Dekoichi, and I draw a Torrential Tribute, as well as my top deck was a Trunade. So this hand's pretty fucking useless at this point in the game, I'd say, but could be worse. So I'm going to swing here, and he actually uses Sakuretsu on my Dekoichi here. It's pretty crazy to use a removal like that, especially when you're sitting comfortably at 54 life points. But I suppose he does know I'm running return, so he wants to stay as high as possible, I guess. I felt pretty good about this one though. Main 2, I'm going to set Torrential with an empty monster board. He's just going to heavy storm right off the fucking bat. So I just lost Mirror Force and Torrential here, which I guess was like the biggest punish at this point. And he just happened to have it. There's nothing I could do. And he chain links his scapegoats. Then he decides to hardlock his board of monsters, which I thought was whack as well. But like, if he has a tribute summon, because that is a Sangam, but obviously I didn't know that at the time. But I still think that's nutty. That's just as bad as like locking your back row so you can't use spells. So I top deck the Bazoo. I'm looking at my graveyard. I go ahead and use Bazoo's effect for 1 just to get Dekoichi into the banish zone in case I need an extra monster to swing later. And I go over his set, which I probably shouldn't have done in hindsight because now I just unlocked his board for him. He goes ahead and adds Magician of Faith off this, which I thought was also whack because he already, like, you don't have Serpent to begin with. Like, I guess you already have the tokens, so if you have meta, you don't need the Serpent, but I would still go Serpent here. But him going for Moth like that, right, just like that in that way, I assumed he had a Chaos play in his hand. It was like a dead giveaway at that point because the only reason you'd search Moth, like, he has the Tsukiyomi, but I feel like he did it for the light attribute. Anyway, I set the Trunade, which was also a sell. I shouldn't have done that either. So this is vulnerable to back row, and he had already used Duo, so there's literally no point in me doing that. So he does have the meta, and he goes for the play again. Nothing I can do about it, so he gets the Bazoo. And he hits my face. Top deck and another Dekoichi. Not what I want to see. I know he has Tsukiyomi in hand, so I don't even bother setting this thing so he can't recycle it and totally nullify Dekoichi. At worst, I'm taking an extra 1600 damage here, opposed to 0 or like 1100. I top deck a Solemn, which is actually sleeper as fuck. I'm pretty behind right now, but having Solemn in case I get the return play is really good. So with Solemn set, I feel comfortable enough using Dekoichi here, since if he goes for Tsukiyomi, I can just Solemn that out. He draws his Thunder Dragon, so now he does have Light and Grave, but he still has Moth in hand as well. So he's going for the Tsukiyomi play, and he kind of jumped the gun on that. I'm gonna go for the Solemn play on that. And after this, he was really checking my banish zone because he thought I had return. Even in chat, he was typing out all the flip monsters I run, so he would know what he'd be walking into here if he attacked. And I think he actually scared himself a little bit thinking it was Cyberjar, because I don't know why else he wouldn't attack here. So I actually top decked the return, which is the card I needed to get back into this game. Breaker's gone, Heavy's gone. The only card left he has is like MST. I don't think he runs Dust Tornadoes in his list. So he goes for the knock, which hits the Dekoichi, which again, I don't really care, but he had to have thought that was Cyberjar. I had none left in my deck though. So he's going to hit me again. I'm now at 800 life points, just a reminder. I don't think you can see them. I don't remember, my bad. I'm not good at this video shit. But I'm at 800, he's at 54. So he goes ahead and sets a Magician of Fate there. I top deck Breaker, and I'm really looking at my board and my plays here. So he has Thousand Eyes, 3 Goats, and a set monster. Set monster is most likely Moth, I already know that. And in my banish zone, we can see I have Tribe and DD Warrior Lady, as well as 3 other beat sticks. We know my back row set is Trunade and Return. So I'm going to go for the all-out play here, banking that his set down monster is not like a Jar or something, or a Night Assailant. I go for return, pay 400, I bring back all 5 of my beat sticks, including Tribe. Now I only have 1 monster in hand, but since he has Thousand Eyes that took my Bazu, I used the Trunade to get it back. And I used Tribe's effect twice to clear the Thousand Eyes and the Goat tokens. And then I used Warrior Lady on the set just in case it was a floater. And then with the rest of the 4 monsters I have that can hit face, that's more than 5400 damage. So that's game 1. Game 2, I changed my side up pretty well, I think. I'll go ahead and show you my swap outs now. So from the main deck, I decided to take out Cyberjar since he was valuing it so much game 1. And I also took out D-Mock, as it's a really good monster to just take out of your deck if you need space. In place of that, I put in 2 Mobius, because I feared Decree coming into this game. Since he's running Scapegoat tokens, I took out the 2 DDAs and I put in 2 Asura Priests. Shout out Shushki. In place of the Dekoichis, I put in Gravekeeper Spy, just so I have better tribute insurance for Mobius in case he is actually running the Decree. Then I took out the Card Destruction and the Delinquent Duo because he was playing Thunder Dragons, and since I'm going second, those cards can be completely dead if I draw them and he has Thunder Dragon. The only other changes I made was I took out Trunade and I took out Lightning Vortex because I took out D-Mock from the main, so it didn't make sense to keep those in. MST had to come in here, like I said, for Decree, and the only other card I had in my side deck that made sense was Snatch Steal. Alright, let's get into game 2 here. Oh yeah, I brought in the mind controls. I don't know if I said that, but that was kind of obvious. Alright, so my opener does not look good. I drew double Thunder Dragon, but we do have a BLS, a Dark Monster, and Ring, which we could come back with. He shotguns the duo and he hits my Thunder Dragon. Now I could have thrown Spy into the graveyard here because that set up my BLS play, and I can still use Thunder Dragon to search deck, which arguably could still be the correct play in this scenario. But I decided to just throw my other Thunder Dragon because I only have one left in deck now, and the odds of me drawing that card are very low, opposed to me drawing a Merchant, which I could set and then flip and just end up getting the third one in the grave anyway. So I'm really risking myself here of top decking third Thunder Dragon or top decking one of my 3 Merchants. Spy is such a valuable card, and like I said, he runs Decree, so I might really need this card on board to draw into Mobius. Ring's too valuable and BLS is broken. That's just my assessment of how I decided to discard there. So he sets a monster and 2 back row and passes. I top decked the mind control, and immediately I decided to use it. Normally I wouldn't against a player of Lucas's caliber, but if that's Duo, or if that's Magician of Faith and he recycles Duo, I'm pretty fucked. So it ends up being Magician of Faith. I just get the mind control back, so it's basically free. All I did was all I did was deny his duo play. I set Spy, Ring, and mind control, then I pass. So he has Mystic Tomato. So he is running floaters now, which is actually okay because I did bring in a Sewer Priest. He's going to attack into the Spy, which obviously lets me bring out another one. Decided not to use Ring because I don't feel threatened by his board in any way right now. I can just continue to sit on Spy and feel comfortable. Draw into Skull, which again, sleeper meta card, especially versus decks like his. I'm going to set that bad boy right now. We're not going to mess around. So he puts Mystic Tomato to defense mode to avoid Mirror Force, and he's going for Thousand Eyes. But I don't understand why Mystic Tomato's going in defense anyway, because even if you take one of my Spies, it's not like you can get over the other one, so you wouldn't be attacking anyway. Only thing I can think of why you put that into defense is you want me to kill the Tomato with a Spy, which I'm never gonna do, by the way, unless I have game. Anyway, he goes for Mirror on his Magician of Faith, he goes for Meta on his Magician of Faith. Chainlink 2 on the Meta summon, I flip up Skull, so by the time Thousand Eyes gets on the board, I can chain Skull's effect and just kill it. Now he does have a light and dark engrave now, so I have to be very careful of a sorcerer BLS play, but there's really not much else I can do. But after that failed for him, he decides to pass turn, and I draw into my return from different dimension. Since the back row slots are so heavy right now, I decided to just set it down. I don't see anybody using Heavy Storm right now. And again, I'm not going to attack into his Tomato. He probably wants me to kill it so he can summon Sangan and then get a Serpent. That's my assessment of that, but like I said, I'm just going to sit on Spy, have no reason to go in. So he top decks Thunder Dragon, which honestly doesn't do much right now. Thins his deck, but I'm still sitting comfortably. I'd say I have a good positioning right now, even though I opened 2 Thunder Dragons this game and he had Duo. So I think he's realizing here that I can just continue to sit down and not give a shit. So he goes for snatch on my spy, which if I did run Book of Moon, I could have chained it there, which would have been really nice. But he's gonna decide to just tribute the spy for a Thunder Dragon to deny something. I mean, I'm not gonna get life points off the snatch now, and that's one extra body gone. But he does actually have ring here, so he makes up for it, justifies his play. He's gonna pop the spy. I'm gonna let that go through. And again, he keeps Tomato in defense to avoid Mirror Force, but now I'm extremely vulnerable to a Heavy Storm. Top deck Knock, which does nothing for me, but now that my spies are gone and I have Darks Engrave, my BLS is live. He only has one back row, so I decided to just go for the play here. I used Ring on the Tomato to avoid the float, which puts him at 3,800 life points. I shotgun the BLS, I pass priority, and I go for attack. Attacking here baits out Torrential on my summon and also the Mirror Force. First attack goes through, he's now at 2,400. And on the second attack, he chains the Scapegoats, now he has 3. So I go ahead and I use Skull Lair to pop one of the tokens with the remainder spy I have in my grave. Now I have 4 targets in my Banish Zone for return. He only has 2 tokens left, which means I can just win and hit him for game. And that's it. That's my review of Slifer Red 167 Finals. I hope this review helped showcase the power of Baa's return, especially my variant. Alright, that's all I got, guys. For more videos like this, let me know. Oh shit. One more thing. Sleeper Metal 5 coming to you live February 6th at 11 to noon. Sign up time. You already know.